At 0932 hours in the turquoise waters of the South China Sea, the USS Ralph Johnson, an Arleigh Burke class destroyer, was cruising at 18 knots, a routine patrol, a calm sea. And then, something changed. Her SPY-1DV radar painted multiple unknown contacts closing in fast, from the north, the east, and the south. Within minutes, the American destroyer was surrounded. 3 Chinese Type 052 Delta destroyers, each armed with YJ-18 supersonic anti-ship missiles. Each one ready to prove a point. The crew didn't know it yet, but they were now at the center of a standoff that could have sparked the next World War. The USS Ralph Johnson operates under the U.S. 7th Fleet, home-ported in Yokosuka, Japan. Her mission, to ensure freedom of navigation in one of the most contested waters on Earth. This patrol's objective was simple: sail within 12 nautical miles of Mischief Reef. Record radar emissions, assert international law. Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, these are international waters. But to Beijing, they are sovereign territory. Over the past decade, China has built an entire chain of militarized islands: Fiery Cross Reef, Subi Reef, Mischief Reef. Each one packed with missile silos, radar towers, and airstrips built on coral. By 2025, the South China Sea had become the most militarized stretch of ocean on the planet. And this morning, those two worlds were about to collide. At 0937 hours, radar operator Petty Officer Samuel Torres spotted 3 returns, 45 miles out, closing at 28 knots. Type 05. 2 Delta signatures, confirmed. The Aegis Combat System fed data into the Combat Information Center, and in seconds, every U.S. ship and aircraft nearby saw the same picture through Link 16. A Chinese voice crackled over Channel 16, the international distress frequency. Unidentified U.S. warship, you're entering Chinese sovereign waters. Leave immediately, the U.S. bridge replied, steady and calm. This is United States Navy warship conducting lawful operations in international waters. We will proceed in accordance with international law. Seconds later, the Chinese ships switched on their fire control radars. That wasn't routine. That was a threat. At 0942, the destroyer Shining cut across Ralph Johnson's bow, barely 1,200 yards away. For 2 9,000-ton warships, that was a knife fight. The other Chinese ships moved in from the south and east, forming a triangle. Above, a Y-8Q maritime patrol aircraft circled, dropping sonar buoys. They were looking for a submarine. 40 miles east, they found one. The USS Missouri, a Virginia-class attack submarine, was listening, recording everything. Her orders: observe, but do not engage. On the Ralph Johnson, Captain Daniel Brooks gave the quiet order. Every system went hot. Vertical launch cells armed, Harpoon launchers primed, Mk-45 deck gun elevated. In under 20 minutes, a freedom of navigation patrol had become a live tactical standoff. China's Type 052 Delta destroyers, nicknamed the Aegis of the East, carry Type 346 Alpha radars, 64 VLS cells, and YJ-18 missiles capable of Mach 3 strikes across nearly 300 miles. Impressive, but not invincible. The Ralph Johnson carried the Aegis Baseline 9 system, the brain of modern naval warfare. It fused radar, targeting, and communications into a single combat network through Cooperative Engagement Capability, CEC. If one American unit detects you, they all do. Her SM-6 missiles could intercept at Mach 3.5, hitting air and sea targets over 200 miles away. High above, an EA-18G Growler began jamming Chinese radar, blinding their ships. For a navy obsessed with information dominance, the plan had just lost signal. At 0951, all 3 Chinese destroyers shifted formation again, closing to within 6 nautical miles. Deck guns elevated, fire control radars stayed locked. For 14 minutes, the world's 2 largest navies balanced on the edge of disaster. Inside the Combat Information Center, the tension was absolute. No one spoke above a whisper. No one moved. Then a Chinese Z-9 helicopter lifted off the Kunming's deck, armed with light torpedoes. Aegis tracked it instantly. Missile crews prepared to fire, but at 500 feet, it banked away. A bluff. A test. At 0958, a coded transmission came from the Growler. Eyes on. Hostiles painted. No active missiles. Moments later, the Chinese ships began turning, one by one, back toward their artificial islands. The crisis quietly dissolved. At 10:04 hours, the last Chinese destroyer disappeared from radar. The encirclement was over. Captain Brooks released general quarters. The crew exhaled slowly. Officially, the event was logged as an unsafe and unprofessional interaction. Unofficially, Pentagon analysts dissected every radar trace, every transmission, every movement. Their verdict was clear. China had tried to intimidate the US Navy and failed. Not because of inferior firepower, but because the Americans never lost composure. In modern warfare, victory isn't always about missiles or guns. Sometimes it's about restraint. That morning, 3 Chinese destroyers tried to box in 1 US ship. They learned something that day. The US Navy doesn't just command the seas, it commands discipline. And in the South China Sea, the deadliest weapon isn't the missile in the launcher. It's the sailor who doesn't flinch when it's aimed at him.